The Sixers were robbed, but did they make it easy for them to quote unquote steal the victory from them? We'll talk about that more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 76ers. I'm your co-host Keith Pompey with my right-hand man, John Mitchell. We want to thank y'all for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Now, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Now, Mitch, how you been, bro?
Man, I'm good, Keith. I'm excellent.
I'm about to say, man, you gotta be excellent. You just can't be good. You can't be good. But look, Mix, I'm thinking about this now, and we'll go over it. But here's the deal. The 76ers, that was a call that should have been fouled in the closing seconds. Now, the Sixers lost 108-107, where Paul George actually fouled Kelly Oubre Jr. in the closing second. And the call wasn't fouled. The officials looked it over and said, yes, he was fouled. The foul should have been called. But to me, it's kind of like, I want to say they were robbed. And I actually wrote that in my takeaways. But the more you think about it, it's kind of sort of like when you leave jewelry in your car in plain sight of everyone at the mall, in the mall parking lot. And when you come out and it's gone and you're like, oh my God, they stole my jewelry. But then you look at it and you say, somebody says, but bruh, you don't leave stuff like that, valuables in the car like that, where people can look in it and see. So when you look at the 76ers, you say to yourself, y'all were up 15. Y'all start turning the ball over left and right. Y'all start doing some crazy things. You let the Clippers wake up and realize they had a chance. It shouldn't have come to that last play. And that's where I'm at, Mitch. Like, again, it was a crazy one. A lot of stuff was said. The official apologized, saying, like, yes, he did touch him, talking about Paul George.
Right.
But come on, bruh. Y'all were up 15 against a team that didn't even have a first lead until the second half.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have came down to that final play, Mitch.
Yeah, going back to your mall analogy, not only did you leave the jewelry on top of the dashboard, but you left the window rolled down and you left the door unlocked. Like you said, we've seen the Sixers, and that's, point of reference, this is a team that they went out to, a team that's been struggling. A team that went out to Los Angeles and defeated on Sunday, extra shorthanded. And they had the opportunity yesterday. You're at home. You had the momentum of having, you, however real or unreal it is, of having James Harden, back in your building and a chance to, exact some punishment or some revenge on what he did. Even though I'm glad they traded him, and you didn't do it. You had. And we've seen so many of these leads dissipate down the stretch in these games when they haven't had Joel Embiid. But when you get a lead like that, you do things. You ramp your defense up, and there was some miscues on Nick Nurse's part. taking the rim protector out, taking the rim protectors out of the game. And, they feasted on that. The Clippers feasted on that down the stretch. And it was one, this is one that they will look back on. And yeah, you can say, granted, the officials apologizing for making a bad call at the end. That's the NBA. Bad calls are made in every game, but they, by and large, when you have the game in your control, you have to keep it in your control. You have to do whatever you can to keep control. And the Sixers just didn't do that last night.
But the part of the thing is the Sixers didn't even know how to make an inbounds pass when it was like time to really get one. Like, it was crazy. Like, I'm like, yo, like, just pass the ball to the dude. The next thing you know, they had 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, and they were all ugly. But you did say one thing about the officials. Now, here's the play, y'all. So it was a jump ball with 5, but Kelly Oubre got his shot blocked by the glove by Kawhi Leonard. So they had a jump ball like at midcourt with 5.5 seconds left. The Sixers win the jump. They get the ball to Kelly. Kelly drives the lane. He appears to be fouled by Paul George, and then he has his shot blocked by Kawhi Leonard as the buzzer sounded. Real rap, that was a nice block, though. That dude elevated on that block, though. But what happened is that led to Coach Nick Nurse storming the court, yelling at the official. Oubre was also furious with the no call. He gave the middle finger to a referee at the conclusion of the game. Then he screamed obscenities at the referees while playing him. Dude, did you know what he was doing? He said, your mama's a B, your mama's a B, your grandmama's a B, your daddy's a B. Like, it was crazy, dude. It was crazy.
He went in.
He went in big time. So look, then it was, I'm telling you, man, this is like, woo, this is crazy. Now you got to realize this game was on national TV on ESPN. So everybody had it, right? So now this is what the crew chief Kevin Scott said after the game. On the floor in real time to the crew interpreted that play as a defender jumping vertically. However, in a post-game video review, we did observe some slight drift to his left by the defender, George, and the foul should have been ruled. So, you know what I mean? Like, again, they messed up. They realized they got it wrong, which was crazy, the whole 9. But at the same time, there was some 3 ugly turnovers. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard was struggling mightily. Mightily. In that fourth quarter, the brother couldn't miss a shot. He had 10 points on 4 for 4 shooting, right? He made the 2 foul shots. He had 2 blocks. As a team, they shot 60%, 50% from threes, 3 for 6, right? And the Sixers had 3 turnovers to their 0. So to me, that was the game. They gave it away. They gave it away. They literally gave it away, dude. They literally gave it away. And they were giving it away like gradually in the third quarter. But in that fourth quarter, it was like, come on, man. Come on. And then stars step up. Not only did he have 10 points, Paul George had 11. 2 for 8 shooting. He was 2 for 4 on threes, right? James Harden had 4 assists. He had 2 points. James Harden was a +7 in the fourth quarter. Tyrese Maxey, -5. Kelly Oubre, -8. Tobias Harris, -5. And I'm going to say this, Mitch. Did you see that Tobias Harris was wide open in the corner on that final play?
And that's his spot. That's his sweet spot.
So I'm just saying, yes, they left the windows down. Everything. The core unlocked.
Yeah, but Joe Keith, one thing, and I hear you, man, and human error is going to play a role. But like you said, I not to be beating up on Tobias Harris. He had 14 points, but Tobias played 19 more minutes last night than Mo Bamba and took 1 more free field goal attempt. So I'm always going to go back and say, man, that dude has got to be more aggressive
Yeah.
He just got to be more aggressive than he is at times, and it cost him. It cost him a game because that's a game that they should have won. They should have swept. 2 games in the span of 3 or 4 days from a team that's better than they are, and they let that one slip through their fingers. And you really can't afford to do that down this stretch. But let's talk about the great Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. For instance, the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder, which has been a nice ride for years. Pathfinder has room for up to 8, an expansive cargo capacity, and advanced available 4x4 capability. With 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds towing, when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Or the 2024 Nissan Armada. The Armada will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. So take the Nissan Pathfinder or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball, which is pushed back for the Phillies, or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and a lot more. Not to mention great news, great entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/locked on Fire TV. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day long? You have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make this switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Do it today so you can see more and more of us.
Definitely do it today. Do it tomorrow, the next day, all that. Yeah, just keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back. Now here's the thing. You touched on it a little bit about Mo Bamba, right? You touched on a little bit about how Mo Bamba and Paul Reed should have played more, and you're right. I mean, again, you are 100% right. So I'm gonna just read these statistics, right? And I get it. The Sixers rely heavily on the small ball, but this was a day, huh?
That's Nick Nurse.
But this was a night where you're saying, like, I'm looking at Mo Bamba and I'm like, man, my man has a season high, a Sixers high, 11 rebounds. Man, I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard struggling mightily. I'm talking about mightily, y'all. Let me tell you this. Through 3 quarters, Kawhi Leonard shot 3 for 15, and he had 7 points. It was like he had a tough time like getting a good shot off, and when he did, it was it was just crazy, right? So
Yes.
you look at it. So Mo Bamba finished the game. He started. Mo Bamba had 12 points. He had 11 rebounds, and he had 2 blocks. He shot 5 for 8. And he with his 11 rebounds, 3 of them were offensive. He only played 18 minutes and 49 seconds.
He was hooping.
But yeah, the backup center, Paul Reed, had 5 points. He had 7 rebounds. 3 of his were offensive. He had a game high 3 blocks in 21 minutes and 3 seconds, right? So you look at this and you say, both of these dudes were balling. Both of them, right? Both of them were balling. And then neither center played in the fourth quarter when the Sixers went to the small ball lineup. They've had success with that lineup on the past. But on this night, Bamba was a beast on the boards while providing solid rim protection. Same for Paul Reed. And the Sixers missed that down the stretch.
Yeah.
Like I said, Leonard scored the Clippers' final 6 points on consecutive 3-point plays while driving the basket, in large part because the Sixers had 0 rim protection with Bamba and Reed on the bench. I'm telling you, man, like I'm saying to myself, okay, I know Kawhi is a beast. I know Kawhi is the man. But what happened? And you look and you saying at one point they had Nico Batum playing center, then Tobias playing center, right? Because they went to a real. I mean, it was, in my opinion, it was bad. It was bad.
No, it was, man. You know, we
gamble.
We have been very complimentary of Nick Nurse throughout the season. And primarily because he came in and he guided the team early on. But this was a game where it's like, is he watching the same game that we're watching? Because Mo Bamba, he was engaged from the start. Grabbing boards, scoring points. Being aggressive at the rim. That alley-oop he caught was like a flashback to say Patrick Ewing in his heyday. And he just got they got away from what was working for them. You got to have rim protection, and that was clearly evidence in the fourth quarter when Kawhi, when Kawhi found his leg and he got his groove, and the team in general, and a lot of those shots were shots at the rim that they would have had to think twice if Mo Bamba's out there. And even Paul Reed, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Reed had blocked with 3 shots last night. Yeah. So you take the rim protection out. That's a D- for Nick Nurse in that situation. He has to do a better job right there, and he didn't.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was bad. It was like a layup, and it was funny. It was bad, and it seems like the Clippers just adjusted. They said, we're going to attack. We're just going to attack. We're going to attack, and their wings, Paul George and Kawhi, just took advantage, man.
Yeah,
they took advantage. It was like, oh, that's what y'all doing? Y'all for real? Really? Y'all gonna do that? Like, okay.
For real.
Like, they tricked us, right? Like, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Now, it blew up in their face a couple games before, but at the same time, it just wasn't as obvious or as sustained. And it looks like what happened is the 76ers had, like you said, they had a game plan that they were going to stick with, and they didn't adjust to it. I mean, because he came out of the game with like 6 minutes left in the third quarter. And this came after a big rebound he had. So it's like, oh, okay, okay, you're going to take them out, but you're going to bring them back. You got to bring them back in today. You got to bring them back in the fourth. And nah, I was like, whoa. It's like, whoa.
I mean, and more than the bitching and complaining about. I don't know if I can say that, but complaining about the referees. My biggest complaint was coaching of Nick Nurse last night. And you built a nice lead, and when that rim protection disappeared, so did the lead. And I know he's a small ball advocate, but sometimes you have to, and I mean, everybody gets a pass, but that's that's the 9 games left in the season now, and the margin for error with the 76ers is really, really slim. So, but listen, this next segment is brought to us by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off of our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking the same thing this week. I really I wanted the Eagles to keep Swift, and they went for Barkley. So and trust me, I am happy for the upgrade, and I'm happy that they went and added, a really good running back. But that's one of the smaller things in our lives. We all have bigger things to deal with. We have our sports issues, but therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. If you do that today, if you need to, because mental health is a serious thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, do it today. People definitely do it today. But yeah, that's a serious thing. It is extremely serious. But you know what's really serious? I got 2 things I want to talk to you about. Like Nick Nurse, for one thing, is about Paul George, and a lot of people talking about Paul George possibly coming to the Sixers in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think is some people say it's going to happen. It's definitely a done deal. And from the gate, it always reminded me of the summer 2018 when the Sixers went star hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Bron, Paul George, and Kawhi, right? Yeah. Kawhi ends up getting traded because the Sixers didn't want to bid against themselves, so to speak, and they didn't want to give in a couple draft picks or whatever. And Kawhi ends up going to the Toronto Raptors, right? And then PG gets traded. He was with Indiana, but he ends up getting traded to OKC. But they still won. But at that point, you figured it was just a leverage type thing. So he gets the money that he wants from OKC. And then LeBron, if you remember, it supposedly came down to the Lakers and the Sixers.
I remember that. That was a joke. But go, yeah.
Yeah, because remember, the ownership group flew out to LA and everything. And LeBron wouldn't even meet with him. It was Rich Paul. So, now all of a sudden, you got the Sixers could have upwards to around 65 million available. Paul George wants more money from the Clippers, right? He made the All-Star team. He's doing all this other stuff. And now it's like, well, maybe I can go to the Sixers. The Sixers are a minor situation. It's not. And I'm thinking dude, this is 2018 all over again, where the dude is like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? I mean, it could happen, but at the same time, it's like you and Kawhi wanted to play together. You're from Palmdale, which is in the valley of, LA, the valley, the suburbs. It's like basically the equivalent of Montgomery County to Philly. right?
Yeah.
You got mom and
Yeah.
dad, and everybody wants to be there. They get a new arena, the whole nine. And do you really want to come here? Especially when, let's face it, I love Joel. You love Joel, but you don't know when Joel's ever going to play. You don't know what his future is going to be like. You
Yeah.
don't know if Joel says, you know what, a year from now, these L's are adding up. I need to go elsewhere. And then the Palmdale boys in Philly, like, man, they left me. They left me. So
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, man. I'm just a skeptic, and it could
Yeah.
happen. It could happen. It could be true. I mean, I know the
Yeah.
Sixers really want him, but
how badly does he want the Sixers? Does he? I mean, I don't know. You know, I mean, like you said, man, they're going into that new building. I mean, all those LA guys got together out there because they wanted that whole California love. They wanted to recreate that California love thing right there. But looking at Paul George, he'll be 34 next year when the season begins. I still like his game, man. And that's why, it's interesting. We talk so much about Daryl Morey, but Daryl Morey has the biggest deals he's made, including this deal to create all this cap space for them. Kudos to that. But his hand was forced in all of them. His hand was forced in the Ben Simmons fiasco. His hand was forced in the James Harden fiasco. And by the way, Harden, you should at least call your boy Joel and check in on him to see how he's doing, man. I mean, stop being such a chump. But I like Paul George, but this is where we're gonna find out if this is fact or fiction that Daryl Morey knows what he's doing. That Daryl Morey has the relationships to build an NBA team here. Like, I mean, he's working off of. I'm sure James Harden is spreading the snake oil to anybody who will listen to him, about what happened here. I like Paul George. I still like him at 34. I think he still plays defense. He's shooting 40% from the 3-point line. I think he comes here and theoretically, is he the number 2 or the number 3 guy with what they have?
Oh, he's number 2 and sometimes number 1. I mean, he's the guy. Now, see, here's the deal. So what happens is, he could like, if he stays in his contract, he's going to make, he's going to make 20. No, if he stays, he's going to make $48 million.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, he's going to get 48 million. Right? But he could opt out, or he could take an extension for he can opt out, but he can also sign an extension for, well, let me take this back. Kawhi signed an extension for 3 years for 147 million. And apparently what's happening is that Paul George, what they're offering George, is less than what Kawhi got.
Right.
And George wants to get more.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's one of those things where the Sixers step in.
Yeah.
And the Sixers, if they don't make the second round, Paul Reed's contract is not guaranteed.
Right.
With that being said, the Sixers, that's where the 65 mil comes in. So the Sixers can give George what he wants, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, that's why you say to them, like, look, y'all getting a new arena. Our championship window is now.
Right.
What y'all going to do? Are y'all willing to lose me? Because I can go to Philly. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's some people who say, like, they feel like the thing is going to happen. But then there's other people like me who saying, like, okay, let me just sit back. Because let's think about this. There was a point in time when sources were saying that James Harden in Houston was a done thing. Now, what happened is they got a new coach. Ime Udoka was like, oh, nah, I don't know about this. So, I don't know, man. It's still early. in the game for that. But I honestly believe that the brother is just trying to get some more money. I believe it's a power play.
And you know, it's so difficult for Philly to the 76ers to attract free agents. You know, the Eagles attract free agents, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the 76ers, you know, for whatever reason, you know, it's been years since we added a free agent who was just like, wow, this guy is, you know, lock, stock, and barrel, our guy. I think Paul George fits nicely here if he does, but I also, you know, I would hate to see them, and that's a weird clause in the contract that Paul Reed has that they'll, you know, that they'll let him go, or not let him go, but he becomes a free agent if they don't. I mean, how do you even think of stuff like that? You
I
know?
mean, yeah, I guess I know. I mean, it depends on who they think they. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of crazy. I mean, b-ball Paul. I mean, hell, I guess if you ain't playing in the fourth quarter, like you might not
yeah,
be
yeah,
hitting 3 blocks. Maybe you ain't that. I
yeah.
mean, and that ain't a knock against him. It's just that
Right.
it's probably what the reality is in the situation. You know what I mean? But look, y'all, we need to talk to y'all about Locked On 76ers national YouTube channel, right? Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus or national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. But we want to thank y'all for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, our YouTube channel is the same as this right here, Locked On 76ers. Now, when you come to our YouTube channel, make sure you click on that Liberty Bell. When you do that, you become a new subscriber and you get notifications whenever we post new podcasts, right? So you want to do that. But we want to thank y'all for listening. We want y'all to have a blessed day. And whatever you do, don't pull what the Sixers did after the game, charging people saying your mama's a B, your grandmama's a B. Nah, it's all good.
I'm
I mean,
gonna
he did
have to.
apologize. He apologized. Huh?
I'm gonna have to search that out. I didn't see that, man.
Woo, I got dude. He was like boom, boom, boom. He said your grandmama, your daddy. He went he went all in, man.
All of y'all.
And then after the game, he whipped the middle finger to one of the ref. The ref who didn't make the call. He was on the ground like
Uh,
oh,
I'm
this
a,
is some WWF stuff right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
They became unhinged. And Nick Nurse was going after him like that's some BS. But he
I
didn't say
saw
BS.
that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Oh, it was unhinged. It was straight gangster down there on Broad Street. But look, all right, y'all. Have a great one. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. And hopefully we'll have some more stuff to talk about. Hopefully not as crazy as this, but
Yeah,
we'll definitely be right talking about some fines and maybe in a suspension.
yeah.
All right. All right, y'all. Deuces. Peace.
Have a good one.